Why was this tent slashed from the inside? 9 elite hikers vanished on a frozen Ural mountainside, and what searchers found still argues back today. Tonight, we reopen the Dyatlov Pass Incident and weigh the best evidence against the wildest theories. It is winter, 1959. Engineering student Igor Dyatlov leads 9 experienced ski trekkers toward a windswept peak the local Mansi call Kolat Siakal, Dead Mountain. They pose with skis and handwritten route plans, confident and laughing, then disappear into snow and radio silence. When they miss their check-in, students and soldiers push into the whiteout to search. Near tree line, the rescue team crests a ridge and freezes. A large canvas tent lies half buried, its side cut open from the inside, as if someone slashed their way out in a hurry. Footprints, some in socks, some from bare or felted feet, none showing a chaotic stampede, lead downhill toward the dark line of the cedar forest. They do not show a return. Bodies surface in stages. 2 hikers are found beneath a cedar near the remains of a small fire, wearing only underwear and light shirts in sub-zero cold. 3 more, Dyatlov among them, lie between the cedar and the tent as if crawling home, frozen where they fell. Weeks later, searchers probe a snow-choked ravine and find the last 4. They are farther into the trees, partially buried by winter debris and meltwater. Most deaths are ruled hypothermia, but the ravine group carries shocking trauma, crushed ribs, a fractured skull with little external bleeding. There are the details that never left the headlines. 2 victims are missing eyes, 1 is missing a tongue. Autopsy notes, later revisited by modern pathologists, point to soft tissue loss in water and scavenger activity, grisly but natural, yet the imagery fuels darker theories. Clothing becomes a riddle of its own. Some garments test positive for elevated radiation, traces that might come from industrial work or luminous materials, enough to spark speculation, not enough to prove a weapon. So what force drove 9 hardened winter travelers, some half-clothed, into a death march at night? And why did they not light torches and return together the short distance uphill? Those 2 questions are the heart of Dyatlov. The leading answer today is not cinematic, but it is deadly. A small, dense slab of wind-loaded snow, likely released above the tent sometime after the group cut their platform into the slope. Imagine a heavy table of compacted snow, hard, sudden, silent, dropping and sliding just far enough to crush the tent and injure whoever lay beneath. You wake to air squeezing out of fabric, poles buckling, and a ton of snow pinning your chest. You slash the wall where you can reach, not the blocked door, and evacuate immediately to avoid a second collapse. In 2021, researchers modeled this exact scenario with slope angle, wind loading, and snowpack physics. Their results showed that a modest slab could impose car crash-level forces on ribs and skulls, consistent with the worst injuries, without leaving a Hollywood avalanche scar. Investigators reopened the case in the late 2010s and officially named an avalanche, specifically a slab avalanche, the most probable cause. That finding does not answer every oddity, but it aligns the mechanics with the bodies, the cuts, and the footprints walking away. Before we weigh the stranger bits, what's your verdict? Slab avalanche or something else? Lock in your call now. Consider the weather the campers faced. Katabatic winds, dense, supercooled air draining downslope can flatten tents and sandblast skin. If those winds surged after the slab, the team may have fled to shelter among trees, building a fire under the cedar while planning a safer return at daylight. Add in the human factor under cold stress. Hypothermia reverses judgment and steals coordination. Paradoxical undressing, shedding clothes as the nervous system misreads heat and cold, can explain why the first bodies wore so little, while others borrowed what they could as they regrouped. What about the ravine injuries? Picture 4 hikers navigating a creek bed in darkness, snow bridging the gully like a thin roof. A secondary slab or cornice collapses onto them, compressing chests and skulls without sharp external wounds, trauma like a slow, heavy punch. They are partly buried until spring melt reveals them. Still, Dyatlov invites other stories. Some propose an infrasound effect. rare wind vortices around the mountain generating low-frequency pressure waves that can induce panic or dread. It is intriguing physics and hard to test at the site. Call it plausible mood music, not a proven trigger. Others fix on military tests. Parachute mines were active in the era, and distant nighttime explosions could explain reports of lights in the sky. Trace radiation on clothing, confined to a few items, stokes that fire, but there is no hard evidence of shrapnel, blast wounds, or contamination levels consistent with a battlefield. The theory remains a dramatic maybe. There are more fringe suggestions: Yeti attacks, alien encounters, secret agents in the snow. The problem is, the evidence behaves like weather and gravity, not claws or conspiracies. No defensive wounds imply a panic to escape, not a fight. The footprints look organized, not chaotic, and the injuries match compression, not mauling. Return to the tent and work forward. The team cut a platform on a 30-something degree slope, steep enough for a slab to form later as wind loaded the snowpack. They cook, journal, and sleep. Sometime after midnight, the slab settles and pushes into the tent. At least one person is hurt. They cut their way out because the doorway is blocked or buried. They move downslope to the tree line, where wind breaks and snow is shallower. At the cedar, they build a fire using bark and small branches. Two succumb first, wearing little. The survivors attempt a divided plan. Some try to return to the tent, following their own tracks uphill, and freeze along the way. Others seek the stream bed for shelter or water and are crushed by a collapsing snow bridge. The odd details now slot into place without magic. Soft tissue loss occurs in meltwater. Radiation appears on a few garments, likely contaminated before the trip. Clothes change hands as the living strip the dead to survive. The story is brutal, human, and, most importantly, consistent with known mountain hazards. Does this solve Dyatlov forever? No single model can reconstruct a night no one survived to describe. But the modern avalanche hypothesis answers more questions than it creates, and it explains why 9 hardened hikers would leave shelter in lethal cold, then never make it back. Nature is violent, sneaky, and indifferent. On a bad night, it can look like a cover-up. What is the single strongest clue to you? The inside cuts, the footprints, the injuries, or the ravine? Drop your pick in the comments, argue your case, and tell us what mystery you want next. If this breakdown earned your trust, subscribe for more deep forensic mysteries and keep a healthy respect for mountains that never explain themselves.